Well, yeah, the game, like the more current games that I've been playing, one that we didn't talk about last time that I was playing last time was Avowed,
Ah.
because Avowed came to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
It is the what Outer Worlds was to Fallout. It is like that to Skyrim. Basically, it's
Yeah.
Obsidian's kind of smaller, a little bit more streamlined fantasy game, but it's still the first person, still very much like Bethesda inspired. I played it probably for somewhere around 8 hours or so. I
Mm-hmm.
got into the got into the game, got off the starting island, got into like the main town, was doing side quests, had unlocked a couple companions, had definitely made a choice or two that I could see where I could have like potentially handled those situations differently. Like
Mm-hmm.
one where I ended up having to like fight my way out of this part of town that was controlled by these like this gang, and the decision I made basically made all the gang members in that area hostile, and so it was like, okay, now I have to like fight them, kill their
Time to go.
leader, yeah, get out of there. Whereas I'm sure there were ways to like talk your way through that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just that that's not the itch that I want to scratch right now, or if it just, you know, if it just wasn't hit. I mean, a lot of the reviews have been kind of that like 7 out of 10. Like this game it's a perfectly fine video game. It's not doing anything
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna like shatter your expectations or rock your world necessarily. But you know,
Hmm.
and for me, as somebody who I like a lot of games that are in that kind of 7 to 10 range. This one just wasn't what I
Yeah.
wanted to be playing, I guess, because
Yeah.
that I dropped it and went to Liza P because I was like, I need to play something with combat that I enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
because this game, like, it's getting a lot of praise for its combat for what it is. Like the first person melee
Mm-hmm.
feels really impactful. The magic and like spells and stuff look really cool. The whole game looks really like the art style is really pretty and really unique. I like the art style.
Yeah.
But just for me, it's that kind of like standing back and casting at things until you run out of mana, or going up and like bonking them and then like skirting out of the
Mm-hmm.
way when they try to bonk you. It feels really like messy compared to the more action games that I have kind of been
Yeah.
preferring lately. And then I wasn't really like, nothing in the story or the writing, none of the characters I had interacted with yet had really made me be like, oh, this is great. Like I'm super
Mm-hmm.
invested in this world, super invested in these characters, want to see how their stories progress. Like that has not happened. Maybe, maybe that would happen if I kept playing it, but
Mm-hmm.
I kept kind of playing it because I didn't really have anything else I was actively playing, and because I wanted to give it
Hmm.
like a fair shake to be able to say like, okay, I gave this like a good solid few nights, couple hours a night, like I
Yeah.
got into the game, but ultimately just kind of ended up being like, meh, maybe I'll revisit it down the road and it will be the right time for me, and I'll be like, yes, this is the exact like experience that I'm looking for right now. But
Mm-hmm.
that just didn't really feel like the case with Avowed right now. So I think I'm
Yeah.
really just kind of, I don't think anything is really going to scratch the itch, because my itch is Assassin's Creed. And
Yeah.
so, like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
so
fair.
close. It's like, I'll be playing it whenever you hear this. And so it's like these other games, maybe if I wasn't like in that mode of like really wanting to get my hands on Assassin's Creed, these games might, have a little better time clicking and me sticking with
Yeah.
them. But I'm like, man, this isn't what I really want to be playing right now. So that's kind
Right.
of why I went back to Liza P, and why I've been bouncing around a ton of, you know, I say a ton, but just kind of bouncing around and not really like sticking with something
Mm-hmm.
new. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I understand where you're at.
yeah,
I was there in the lead up to Monster Hunter. So
yeah. So like for
Yeah.
me, it's been a lot of Marvel Rivals, because I can
yeah.
just hop in, play as many matches as I
Play
feel
that.
like for the night, and then kind
Mm-hmm.
of be done. Kind of like why you were probably playing a lot of Hunt and stuff when you're waiting
Yeah.
for.
Exactly.
It's like the
Exactly.
comfort, the like low
Mm-hmm.
commitment. You're not getting invested in a story. You're not like, you get in, you play some matches, you're done, you had a good time, hopefully, and
Yeah.
and then that's it. And so I'm waiting to
Hmm.
really like sink into Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like that's the one I'm
Yeah.
like waiting for. So
Yeah. Now, I guess my question with Avowed is like it's set in their like Pillars of Eternity world.
yeah.
Did did you like you got like 8 9 hours in? Did you feel like you understood what was going on? Like, did they do a good job of like introducing you to the world, or did you get the sense that like they kind of expected you to play Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2 before you played this game?
I didn't see any pillars or any eternity,
Okay.
but it felt like what they kind of how they approached that was here's the like setup of this story within this world, and then all the characters that you interact with are going to be dropping a lot of like proper nouns and stuff that you will get a lot more from if
Hmm.
you understand the world and the pillars games. But if not, you'll be like fantasy thing, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of just can roll with it. And I do feel like I something I really love about The Witcher is how much they just drop you in the world, and it doesn't really feel like the characters are trying necessarily to bring you up to speed.
Closet. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
feel like Avowed, it's not the most egregious at that. I think that the next game I'll talk about, if we get to it, is a little bit more egregious in that department. But Avowed definitely
Yeah.
does that to like a certain extent, where it's like we want to keep saying like bringing these things up and giving like little bits of exposition and stuff to try to like get you up to speed with what's going on here, as you're the main hero of this story. So but I didn't find it to be like distracting necessarily. It kind of
Yeah.
just felt like, standard
Yeah.
fantasy stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. And it sounds like you had like a pretty good idea of what was going on in the story. It's not a sequel to a Pillars of Eternity
No,
game
the
necessarily. It's just
course,
in the universe.
yeah, the core
So,
story is pretty self-contained and very, at least unless there's some sort of major twist down the line, it's very like simple, straightforward. Like
hmm.
you are a person, this is your mission, go do your mission. And then where like kind of the decisions and nuance come in are like, how do you want to treat
Hmm.
people? Who do you want to have in your party? Which ways do you want to approach some of these? But like the ultimate beats are very clear and very,
Hmm.
they're not anything that we haven't seen in this
Yeah.
genre at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay. So not reinventing anything, but doing a solid job at it.
yeah. And like I said, it looks really good. Like I do think they
Mhm.
went for a pretty unique like art style and direction, and it plays just fine.
Yeah.
It definitely feels more like streamlined maybe, or like it definitely doesn't feel as like open and the world is your oyster and we're just going to drop you in this world and you go like have an adventure like a Skyrim or a Fallout. It's more like here are your somewhat wide paths that you can take, which is kind of
Hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
Outer Worlds was. Like Outer Worlds was not a big
Yeah.
open world game. It was like a contained story that went to some like zones that you could,
Hmm.
and they wanted it to be more dense rather than big. Like so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is is fine.
I generally like. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Sometimes quality is better than quantity. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.